Alright guys, it's Charlie Tango 1994 back with another YouTube video. Why do ham radio operators hate CB radio users? When talking with other radio enthusiasts, one question which frequently arises when talking about CB radio is why ham radio operators feel so strongly about CB radio users. There seems to be a clear divide between the two camps, with a lot of ham radio users looking down on CB radio users with disdain, labelling them as idiots, fools, and other more colourful terms which can't be used here. Even some CB radio users would agree that it's easy to see why the UK 40 FM channels gets the name Muppet Band. We know the level of stupidity that features on the CB radio quite often. But it's far to say that for some ham radio hobbyists, feelings do indeed run deep, and in some cases just as much between the CB radio camp and their counterparts in the ham radio fraternity. On one radio forum, there's one ham radio user who had posted reports of threats to himself and his family, including doing unspeakable things to his dog and threatening to burn out his car because of a comment he'd made on a YouTube video. He reports in the forum that a group of CB radio users banded together, and over several weeks he received death threats from each of them. There's not much information about what his comment actually was that could inflame such deep feelings of anger, but it goes to demonstrate that tempers can run high on the matter. If you're new to this channel and would like to see more CB related videos, feel free to hit the subscribe button below and watch out for new videos uploaded every Wednesday. If you enjoy my videos, don't forget to hit the like button or leave me a note in the comments section. Also, if you're new to CB radio, watch this video through to the end to find out more about the free gift I offer to all of my subscribers. It's fair to say that getting into CB radio is incredibly easy. They are cheap, very easy to obtain, and require no training or special licenses to use. Add to that the availability of high power amplifiers and equipment that can be relatively easy to modify to get onto other frequencies, which would normally be reserved for licensed users, and the opportunity for misuse is too much for some. On the other side of the coin, there are the ham radio users who have invested heavily both in terms of time, training for complex examinations, and in expensive specialist radio equipment, or indeed have built their own radio equipment from kits that obviously take a great deal of pride in their hobby, and naturally would feel quite protective of their hobby, as well as the protocols and degree of professionalism used by serious radio users. There would be a great deal of ex-military users who would have carried over their years of using radio communications as part of their jobs into the hobby arena, and no doubt there are older gentlemen who would have sent many messages over the year in the Navy with a straight key that can receive and transmit Morse code messages as second nature without the need to decipher what was being sent. There are genuine, regular competitions on the bands where massive distances are achieved, and a great deal of effort is put into obtaining and logging these transmissions, only for it to be spoilt by some individual pushing far too much power, either bleeding all over the precious transmission or taking the opportunity to insult somebody's mother or the like. It's easy to see why this kind of behaviour could incite a sense of frustration, which in part is exactly why it's done in the first place. Not dissimilar in some ways to someone adding graffiti to a work of art. It does nothing to acknowledge the level of skill or effort of the original artist, and is in every way a sign of disrespect. So for serious ham radio users who want to get the best from their equipment and truly value the quality of operations on the airwaves, they just don't see the attraction of CB radio, and are happy that most of the folks who only dabble in CB radio never take the time to qualify to the other bands and more permitted power. And for some CB radio users who just want a cheap way to lark about with their mates or just want to keep in touch with their neighbours, they simply don't see why ham radio guys get so touchy about it. Historically though, most radio ham users start out on CB radio, or at least this was true when it was more active. And it is these early experiences with radio that lead them on to the path of obtaining the qualifications and developing a genuine love for the hobby. As with so many things, we should state that it's horses for courses, and while to an outsider, ham radio and CB radio are fundamentally the same thing, from a different perspective, they simply are not. The root of it would be around the qualification of the person involved, and it's easy to understand that with the degree of investment in time and effort it takes to achieve the higher qualifications, they deserve the best from the hobby, whilst those who are happy to just muck about on the radio and wouldn't be prepared to qualify in any sense should really exist in separate arenas, which in essence is why these qualifications and separate specifications of radio exist. Consider as a comparison an HGV driver compared to someone with a Legoland driving licence. Whilst they represent something similar, they simply aren't the same. In closing, it's worth stating that there are a good number of CB radio users who are just as serious about the hobby, and with the legalisation of AM and SSB in 2014, there are better, more affordable radios available that do achieve a much better experience than the older 80s rigs, and this adds to the appeal of CB radio to those who do take the hobby more seriously. Those who intend to achieve more from the hobby would be wise to consider taking the relevant exams required to move legally onto the other bands. But for anyone interested in getting into the hobby, CB radio will always be a great introduction to it. Hope you enjoyed watching this video, and as a thank you to you, particularly if you're new to CB radio or returning to it after many years, I've put together a free information series called The Beginner's Guide to CB Radio, which I'm sharing with all of my subscribers. To find out more, click the link in the top right corner now.